Fourth floor and seventh floor.
Well, I was thinking my other one.
Linda.
She said she was texting. Workers.
And say it's probably warmer than here, so it's push me away, but it might not be true.
LA, LA is in the snow. There's snow right now.
And they got tornadoes last night across down there somewhere. Did you see that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Texas and stuff, did I saw, I heard on the radio, up to California. She says, I'm stranded in my house. And they're like, what? I'm at the top, I live at the top of the hill, and the roads are entirely covered with snow. And we're like,
Get up there.
what's
Doesn't want to try going up the hill. We're coming down.
It's probably the first time in their life you
Could very well be. I know when I was in basic training in San Antonio.
It's 5:30, I'll call the meeting to order. Please join me for the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please.
Doobie,
Yes.
Yaris. Yes. Dataford,
Present.
Kuchar,
Present.
Rabish present, Anderson excused, Holstein excused. 5 present.
Thank you for joining us on this blustery evening. Any additions, changes to the agenda?
Move to approve the agenda as printed.
Support. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Anybody from the community like to address the agenda items?
I do. Oh, not the items, but I have a
Have at, the floor is yours.
Our son took third place at, where was that, Tom? Petoskey,
Petoskey.
for the wrestling meet.
In
Oh,
And
great.
he's
middle school.
He's a seventh grader, okay. This is kind of his year and a half. And then Alex Rebard, who's a seventh grader, he took second place, and he's been going since he was a little tyke. And he's always gone and made third place, but he finally got second place. And then there were 2 other children. One of the coaches, the daughter, she took third place, and another little boy took third place. So they did good. Pinconning did good.
Is that called M1?
Yes, I think
It's something like that.
it's not.
Okay.
Yes, I think. Anyway, it was a Petoskey on Sunday, so
Great. Thanks for the athletics report.
yeah.
That's awesome.
Have to give you a note and you'll have to reimburse you there. Any other comments? Good, thank you. Students partners, we're doing that? Okay.
No.
Good. Consent agenda.
Make a motion to approve the consent agenda and pay the bills at $614,065.91.
Motion and support. Any discussion on those items? Roll call, please.
Dataford,
Yes.
Yaris,
Yes.
Doobie,
Yes.
Rabish, yes, Kuchar,
Yes.
5-0.
Motion carries. Thank you. Mr. Kowalczyk, the floor is yours.
Thank you, President Kuchar. Would like to start with communication and just how it's been a priority for the whole year, and we know that there are ways that we are still improving. There have been situations throughout the year where we're working on communication, making sure that it is the parents, the community have everything that they can have, in our situations. I attended a webinar today on crisis communication, which is very fitting for our last month. And some of the things that they were talking about is that trying to express to parents that they can't always get all of the information of things that are happening. But that, and the other thing was that it's very tricky with social media now that they will hear and see things before we can get it out, because we have to be accurate and thorough Where social media doesn't have to be either of those things. It can be, hey, I heard this and that, and they may see things a couple hours before we get the official thing out. So that was kind of neat to see and hear them say that, you need to be thorough and make sure before you get your information out that it is correct. So that was a neat thing to see. I also am contemplating and thinking about starting a YouTube channel for the school where I give like a monthly, first of each month to update. Here are things that are going to happen throughout the month. Right now we do the weekly update, but it's just for that week. And sometimes I think, there might be something next Monday, 8 days away, that they're not getting because it's just this week where it's a overview. One principal, actually from Utica that I know, he actually led the webinar, and I asked him if he had any negative comments because he did this for years, and said no, it was nothing but positive when he had that. And actually the new principal that stepped in wasn't doing it, and there was a lot of negative comments because they wanted that monthly update, just a quick, and you can highlight students, you can highlight things that are going on, but it's more of a monthly thing. So that's something that I think I'm going to try to start as well. Going along with the same communication, I wanted to update everyone on the bathroom wall writing that we had last week. I'm so thankful for our police support that we had with this. And just a quick review was that there was a writing on the bathroom wall that said, gonna bring a gun on a certain date on 2/22. Didn't say they were going to do anything with it, just said that they were going to bring it, and it was very faint. So much that when Mr. Woodruff went in to look at it after he was told, he couldn't even find it, didn't know where it was. So it makes us worried a little bit. We don't know when it was even written. If we knew it was there that day, I think we probably would have been able to know exactly who that student was, because we watched and went back 3 days, I shouldn't say we, Mr. Bycraft watched 3 days of video and looked at every kid that went in. Interviewed many of them, did handwriting samples with them, so it could have been longer than that. But the police support that was going to happen on that day, and actually the previous day before, we had 2 county sheriffs here throughout the day, just walking around saying hi to everybody. And on that next day, we were going to have multiple county sheriffs, state police, our school resource officer, Pinconning. Probably would have been the safest day in a long time here at Pinconning, just because of the support and the people that were going to be here. But the snow day kind of helped the whole situation, and there were no worries. But it was great to see the people come and help and say, we're here for you, we're going to be there. But there were still a lot of very worried, upset parents, which I get it. I think we all get with things that have been happening. So now moving forward, looking at those bathrooms a little more carefully, our custodians daily, making sure that way if they see something, we get on it in that day. We know it's not there for 2 or 3 days. And maybe that one wasn't, but just kind of keeping an eye out. And these are things, it's not new. This has been happening forever, writing things on the bathroom wall. But most times I think you see it and can catch the student and take care of the situation. So are there any questions about that situation? Okay. And then the last thing was I wanted to make sure that you were able to see the new display, the Board of Education display in our gym, high school gym lobby. It's been up, I think, since last week, like Tuesday, something like that. We've had multiple events in our gym, and every time I go through, I see 5-6 people standing and looking at it, and the comments have been amazing to me about how great it looks. How classy it is to have that up there. So I want to make sure that you guys are able to see that and see your faces up on our wall and display.
Did you see that? Did you hear that, Tom? You'll look great in your class.
Yep.
Are they measuring distance to see how far they have to be back to throw it?
Nope.
Put a line on.
No.
I'm surprised they haven't done that.
No spitballs. No nothing. It's
For the next assembly.
Yeah.
It does look really good though.
Yeah, it does.
Thank you.
great.
Well, better than I thought it would, that's for sure.
That's it for me.
All right, any questions? Thank you. We have a student rep, I assume? No?
No.
Reports from other ed.
I'm good at that.
You good? All right, the site committee then.
We can extend it.
Yes.
3 of us met.
We had several things reviewed. Main topic was the playground at Central L. That's not the slide. The playground at Central L.
It's in the back of the packet.
Yep. She just went through it line by line. Everything seems in order, is in order. None of the personnel on the committee had any issues with what she presented. It's all ADA compliant. The only thing we did recommend is that we get a quote on replacing the asphalt at Central in addition to, but that is not going to prevent us from recommending we approve this today. So we appreciate all the time. There was a lot of time put into that presentation. Well done. So we recommend going forward with that playground, possible asphalt once we get a quote from Stoniak or 3 bids. I'm not sure who all. We didn't talk about the 3 bids.
And we just started with them to see where to come in at.
This is gonna be asphalt underneath first.
This is not asphalt.
Separate, in between where the basketball court is and where the.
So I know there's.
Oh, I'm sorry, I wasn't clear on that, yeah. We were talking about resurfacing this asphalt court there. It's
Okay.
very old, broken up.
I know I've seen some of these where they do something like that and they got that rubber.
We're also gonna be adding some drainage. We have drainage issues back there. That's part of this project. Part of the asphalt is gonna be also making a 10-foot asphalt service drive back, so we can plow snow without tearing up the grass every year. Then we got an update on the soccer field. That's coming along. There's a few items that we need to approve soon to get that facility ready for possible fall start. Andy's gonna get a quote on fencing, some bleachers, and the nets behind the goals. Those are 3 items that are a must. Open that. Beyond that, he presented some options, like a sound system for announcing, storage building, bathroom, concession area. We had a discussion with that, along with what we have left open in phase 2 of the baseball softball program. That project's stalled. We're concerned about that phase 2 is stalled. So we're recommending that we bring that project together, reevaluate phase 2, see where we're at on that, get with the stakeholders that are working with us on phase 2 of the baseball softball, incorporate the needs for the soccer, come up with a new plan for that section of the athletic facility. So Andy's gonna move forward with that. There's other stakeholders involved with that. We've got boosters and those folks that built baseball stadium and the softball stadium upgrades. Hendricks was here, and Andy just mentioned that in a few weeks, he's gonna be in giving us a presentation. Our bond is coming up, and we have a lot of needs. It's a possibility that now is the time to go for renewal, so there'll be no extra cost to the taxpayers, just an extension of what we're currently paying. Stadium sound system. He's received quotes between $20,000 and $40,000 to improve the sound stadium, the football stadium sound system. He's getting additional quotes for that, so there's no recommendation yet on that. Gym system has been improved and it's repaired, so there isn't going to be any improvements made to that gym system.
What was the issue with the gym?
It sounded horrible.
I know that.
It was the whole thing, but now we're just using plugs, the plug-in mics, and it sounds fine, the music's fine. So what it comes down to is the handheld mics are the problem. So we may have to get those, but right now, using the plugs, it's functional.
Okay.
We met with Scobie to go over this project that's on the board here. Been ongoing, so the board already approved the north. Yep, the board approved that. And that. There was some discussion about adding the alley in the center. The concern with that is drainage. We have there is a concrete walkway along that building. And if we were to asphalt that, he is very concerned that all that water will flow into that building. So he recommends leaving it a soft surface until we can either add additional drainage or a grade that can direct that water out of that alley area.
It's off surface, it's already.
Well, there's grass
Oh, yeah, by the building.
by the building there, yeah. So if we were to put that all asphalt, it's a grade issue, is what we have there. We'd have to scrape all that down and regrade so we get that water out of there, or add drains.
Where is the nearest,
Catch basin is right
There's
there.
one over here, and then there's one in this area somewhere. I don't remember. what
It's the
that-
dot.
It is that, okay.
Yep.
So that's the only two, are right here and here. So he's worried that that water would sit on that.
Not sit, actually, it's the lowest point is the sidewalk along that building.
which is along the building, right?
Yes, it's gonna accumulate all along that. So that's why it gets expensive, because now we got a lot of grading, scraping, adding drains.
Did he have an idea? Because,
He's gonna quote in the spring.
okay, so say, if those grades are there, if the Blackton area, the north end of if it's not asphalted now, wouldn't that be the
Now's the
time to,
Yes,
instead of asphalting those two areas where the two drains are, and then we gotta cut it up to put a drain in later?
so
I mean, even if it was just a drain,
the
but
north area there, that's a concrete pad right now. You wanna point to that by the.
South.
South.
South, that's the south,
That's a
yeah.
concrete pad.
Yep.
So that has to come out. Because that has dropped below, and that's where the trucks have their issue. So we're gonna have to pull that, and his question is, are we gonna put asphalt right up to the door, or are we gonna replace that concrete? And from what the board has approved, I assume we're putting asphalt where the concrete used to be. So that being said,
That was the idea.
right.
that being said, when that concrete comes out, we're gonna put new base in there. That base head needs to set for a season to pack.
Like we did at the bus garage, that was like
Right.
6
So
feet.
we're looking at doing that north end here, letting that over there set for a season before he can do that asphalt. So that gives you time to address that.
And my question is, who really uses this alley besides our guys that park there? Like, I don't think our machinery goes through there, do they?
They have a tough time. I mean, lawnmowers and stuff, we have a rough go.
He ballparked it for no less than $25,000. Because that was 10 on the south end, that was 20 up there. He said that alley's gonna be the most expensive portion of all of them by the time we get done. Repulling all that grass.
And he also said, we now are to the point where it's new quotes for the spring. So it's nice that he has all the dimensions, but that he's gonna have to wait for the company that he gets his asphalt from to tell us, you know, what he can quote us at, that the quotes were from last season. So it might be adjustable. But
Should we ask him if we're gonna rip out that, concrete pad, they got the equipment, if they strip that grass off? Yeah, I mean, would it, if we stripped it off and just leveled it with gravel?
You could.
Okay, and, cause it's still gonna, water's gonna run through that,
Right.
so.
It's not.
No, that's why I said before, I was telling Andy, the way they had to get a mower in there, it's all over the place, it's catching, you can see where it's catching the cement that's in there. I'm like, they shouldn't be using the mower over there. That's why I was saying, get rid of that bit of grass anyway, cover it up with, I mean, if gravel's gonna smoothen it out.
So I mean, is the purpose of that gap, is that just between the two buildings?
Yeah, right where this
So-
north end, there was a busted gate, and the fence is gone now.
I mean, it sounds like we shouldn't have vehicles going through there at all.
Just the maintenance guys go through there and they park.
that's where they park.
Now, Mr. Palmerville, when he was on the board, he wanted to extend that southern one to the edge of the building.
Right now, it's the door. And he questioned, should we just go all the way over
There at asphalt there.
another 6 or 8 feet?
Right, that's fine. Well, they'll have to report that.
So it's just, we don't need to approve anything, like just.
No, we've already approved the
The
two.
Yeah, the two.
The
It's
two
just
are
the
big.
part and the possible.
I guess Andy just needs direction if we want to have him pursue some pricing on that alley, if we're gonna let that go. And if we want to extend that southern one to the edge of the building,
If
when
it's,
it gets closed.
Depending on how the quotes come in too, we're approved at 36,000 right now. Because we added, like blindly, we added 6,000 for that added piece.
For that to go to the edge of the building.
So depending on where your quotes come in, those pieces may fall, aside from the yellow, you may fall within what the board's already approved, and it may not need to come back at all.
So we don't need to prove anything, we just need to give Andy some direction.
Right.
yeah, I'm not an asphalt down if it's just used as, you
Right.
know, moderately at best, the part over, put the back, so it's just, the gravel's fine.
Then maybe we look at it, like we said, taking out the grass and the
Yeah.
gravel, so they can't, they don't have to mow and
Tractor,
hit the-
out the bucket and go across.
mess up the machinery by
Yeah.
being unlevel.
That would be, I thought. I think that, is there anything else?
There was Andy did mention the two falls in the parking lot we have. Oh, just outside the gym.
Yeah,
Looked at it the past few nights when I've been leaving. That corner is a little dark.
yeah, we talked, we exited and we talked, if we can get lights on that corner of the building, right at the,
Or if we could paint
The
it
east side of the gym?
yellow.
no, right here,
The west side of the gym.
yeah.
But I think the falls were on the east
Oh, we
side.
thought this was.
Yeah, we thought, because that's pretty dark too.
It's their lights are up, but it's not.
Well, this, we thought, on the corner by the weight room, have a light on, mounted both of there, or something we can get mounted to light up where the transition is,
Yes.
as far as they coming off. And then the other thing is just painting the sidewalk, that drop yellow. So there's a visual barrier, or, that alerts people that it's coming up.
Or that 4-inch strip where the curb is.
Yeah, right there, to highlight that, but I think lights and then the paint, I think that would conquer quite a bit of it. It's just a visual thing, and people are usually talking and looking out, looking for their cars and not paying attention, and it's dark right there, so I would think just paint and lights, a couple lights would do the job, and then probably the same on the backside. Just that transition from the concrete down to the asphalt and paint and burn there a little. Would, I think, do the trick. And then, just kind of piggyback is discussion of the soccer fields and the softballs, kind of merge them as to have that one facility over there where we have one, bathroom, concessions, kind of storage, need be. I mean, running water, I know the concession people would love to have it out there, you know, and also have the bathrooms, but, we discussed, you know, put it over their soccer field or between the softball, baseball, you know, as far as foot traffic goes, it just seems better over in that area where it was kind of not necessarily originally proposed, which is the phase 3 of the ballpark, which would be, in between the bleachers or the, stadium seating of the baseball field. But I don't know if we move it over to where the current concessions is, or somewhere over that way to have that building there, and we can design that later. But I think we discussed it being better over there as opposed to way over at the soccer area. That would still need some type of facility at the soccer area for the refs to get in and things of that nature, but at least to get the, items that Gary mentioned for functioning immediately. Any other questions?
And we were talking about that facility has bleachers, so they can come over here to the soccer field.
Yep. Plus, thought about, were we gonna get any from that Saginaw complex?
I haven't heard yet.
Okay, so Andy, there might be a possibility we can get some there too, put over, so that's good. Good, thank you. Non-consent agenda, Central Elementary Playground bid.
Make the motion to accept the bid from Game Time Sinclair Recreation for the Central Elementary Playground Project not to exceed $175,000 with partial payment funded through ESSER grant.
Motion, do we have support? Support. Motion, support. Take your choice. Any discussion? Is that $175,000, is that just for the equipment, or is that also labor
That's
involved?
both pieces, that's why it's only partially funded by ESSER, because only the equipment itself can be purchased.
Yep. Great, that answers my question.
That includes a grant of $48,000.
So basically $150,000 of equipment and $75,000 of installation with $50,000 paid in a grant, leaving us $175,000.
Yeah, so the total project, it's a big project, it would have been $225,000.
Yep. Those kids are worth it, not to mention what we make my wife extremely happy.
I still can't understand what's the matter with a couple poles and a couple pieces of chain. You got yourself a swing set.
So when the goal to get that completed is,
This summer,
Yeah, get done this summer. All right, roll call vote, please.
Yaris,
yes.
Doobie,
Yes.
Bedifer,
Yes.
Rabish, yes, Kuchar,
Yes.
5-0.
I can't vote on that, right? It's not directly going to. All right, motion carries, thank you. Public comments? Anybody like to address the board? Yes, sir.
I'll take one. I mentioned this when the, Booster Club wrote a check for the soccer field, but John Glenn has a concession trailer that they move around to their different fields.
Look at him always thinking.
And if you put a concrete pad out there with a plug, I don't know if you have the water self-contained in the trailer or put a plug, water and it drain at each site, you use it as football too, they can put all their stuff, they can outfit one trailer, move it to wherever the sport is. If it's baseball, softball, because occasionally, I mean, worst case, we had soccer at the park, baseball, softball, and a crab meet all on the same day. That's once in 7 years, Normally, they're a little better at scheduling than that. So, that, to me, solves a bunch of your problems. The maintenance guys can drop it during the day and hook it up. The thing can sit in the building all winter, so the trailer's not gonna get damaged.
Well, we don't have a building.
Well, you can make space. You can find space to stick the trailer. And it's secure, all their equipment is secure. I don't know how many times I've heard about this one out here getting broken into. And to me, that just seems like a logical way to do it that benefits everybody.
Up to the booster trip.
Trailer, but yeah, same thing.
Yeah.
Exactly. And I mean, their hot dog roller, you can use it for basically all the spring and winter sports, or spring and fall sports. Heck, get the Booster Club to bring it over to Cheesetown and seriously, sell food at Cheesetown, make some money.
Yeah.
Good idea, anything else? Still got time left.
Yeah, if you're gonna dig over there, if you're gonna do any work and tear that concrete out over by the alley there, find out, you've got a nice picture of where stuff is, but you have no idea where those drain lines run. You may have a line running right down that alley that all you have to do is put a catch basin in. you probably need to take the time, someplace you got drawings, figure out where those lines run. If they run anywhere near down that alley, put a catch basin in while you're doing the work.
All right, thank you.
Certainly.
Anybody else? Okay. Discussion items? I just have the one, I sent you guys an email earlier today, if you didn't see it, but that's what's on your, table in front of you when you got here, was that strategic plan. Debbie Stair, got back to me last Friday afternoon, with a proposal. So I'm not sure if you had a chance to go through that or not. We don't need to take action on that tonight unless you want to, but if you want to take a look at it, if there's any questions you want me to ask, and then come back and report next time, let me know, shoot me an email or a text, or if there's any discussion you guys want to have on that.
Would this impact the budget? Do you think you have something in there to cover this?
Probably be about 10 grand, and I would speak 10 grand. It's 7,900. We can do another year, a review after a year for 1,000, but there's also mileage and other reimbursements. So I would just say 10 grand.
It's not in there now, but if we needed to add it at amendment time, we could.
A little bit higher than what I was anticipating, but Chris thinks it's a great deal. So. Yeah, take a look at that. I'd like to be a beard.
I thought it'd be higher than that.
Me too. Well, and then I actually went
I don't have a
through,
problem.
do you wanna come back and we can, there's no rush on it, and I can get questions if you have it, or I can vote on it tonight, and if it's affirmative, I can.
Why don't we let the other two board members that aren't here ask questions?
Okay.
Next time.
Let's also get a timeline when we plan on doing this.
Yeah.
You know, and,
There's a lot of involvement here, and to coordinate our schedules is gonna be difficult. But if we're gonna commit to it, then, we gotta commit to it.
Did she say how far ahead she'd like to know? I saw it says it takes 3 to 4 months to do it.
I know she has other districts scheduled, so I'm not sure when she would be able to start it. I know she said if there's no rush on our part, then I can wait and deal with her when she gets back as dealing with this other gentleman. So, and I was gonna leave this, or if anybody wants to take it with them, I went to the strategic planning CBA class. I know it was pre-COVID, I can't tell you when it was, but it was done by Debbie Starr. There's a little bit of information in here on how it kind of works. So if anybody wants to take that with them and bring it back to the next meeting, or turn it into Andy, or we can leave it with him, you guys can peruse it at your leisure. It's kind of a copy of the PowerPoint that she does teach the class. But I got some little notes in there, but I'll leave that here with Andy in case somebody wants to pick it up or take it with them. And then if you have any questions, again, let me know, and we can track those down.
I know you asked for their questions, but my question would be, did she give us anybody that has been through the process that we can talk to before we make that decision?
Sure, I can do that. So I know there's several. I forget who she told me. I thought she said somebody was doing it now. I don't know if it was Harrison or whatever, but they're always going on. And we can find somebody who just completed it a year ago, completed it 5 years ago, who's working on it now. She'll have a ton of them. She's been doing this for a long time, and everybody I've talked to about this found it a really good experience, really valuable. So, but yeah, you can contact Debbie if you want. She knows she's out of the office. If you want to get those contacts for her, I can do that too. So,
I don't mind doing it. I would just like to know kind of ahead of time what all, because it is time consuming. I want to make sure we know what we're getting into so that we pick a good time of year to do it.
Yep. All right, sounds good. So take a look at that. I'll leave this with Andy. If anybody wants to take it with them tonight, that's fine. And then we can talk about that later. And I will let, Bonnie and Linda know that that's kind of where we're going with this. So, any other discussion items? Right. If not,
Motion to adjourn.
any motion, support from Brad? Any discussion? All those in favor say aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. We are adjourned.
Safe drive.